We can only hope. Let's pray, Ellie. And here we go. Yes, everyone, hello and welcome to the 2-Minute Terminator, where we break down the Terminator films 2 minutes
at a time.
The other disembodied voice on the line is Ellie Fitzgerald, my charming female co-host, who's no longer unique in the Minute Family co-hosts. Hosts.
Yeah, but I am unique because I'm the girl that looks like a boy, so I'm kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yes, you do. You look remarkably like John Connor, even though you're a girl. It's minute 74 to 76. It's episode 37. And we're going
your
for
age
37. Even. Exactly. Actually, Eddie, on the last episode, we actually said it was 36 when it was 37.
Oh, balls.
In fact, you know what? I've made a massive faux pas. It's actually 38. I apologise, everyone.
If the last one was 37, then surely this is 38. Oh, we've got to get our shit together, man. But
well, no, it's fine. I accidentally deleted some clips that we had leading up to these last 4 or 5 minutes. I've had to kind of wing it and shoot them off my phone, off a laptop, as opposed to having them pre-stored and logged.
I think we can cut Ethan some slack because he has been working like a black, bless him, and he worked at a very exclusive party on Friday with rubbing shoulders with all the rich, debauched, just everyone. But before we do, let's just hit the music.
Yeah, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a 6-pack.
Howdy, stranger.
Don't say howdy, stranger, to me.
Load up.
You didn't do the fourth.
Thank God. It sucked.
And we're back. Ellie, you're cracking up like you wouldn't believe.
Really? Is it that bad?
It is that bad. I don't know who's playing Star Wars Battlefront in your house, but they're ruining this show. Anyway, we move on. Yes, I did work with all the celebs on Friday, although I did sign a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't actually tell you about it. What we can tell you, though, is on Monday at another Star-Spangled Bash, the British Fashion Awards, Ellie met and hugged unwantedly Lady Gaga, Nicole Scherzinger and Marilyn Manson.
I love how you've just everyone else had such a positive reaction to it. I felt it was a really great moment, and I've looked back at the picture.
locking of your.
I haven't locked my fingers. If you actually zoom in, I haven't. One hand is overlapping the other. Overlapping.
I will post this picture on the 2-Minute Terminator page.
I will zoom in and I will post it. Thank you very much. You've managed to find some negative in a moment. Just because you're fucking jealous. Just because I didn't plug the show. Just because I didn't say,
I did see Jared Leto actually at the Royal Albert Hall on Monday, and he was wearing some giant bejeweled cape. I like him, but when I think he tries too hard to be avant-garde, and it just comes across as a bit fake. A little bit like his performance as the Joker. Anyway, moving on. Yes, it is episode 38. I apologise, listeners. It's episode 38, and we are going from minutes 74 to 76. And the cut-in points are Jason Clarke's John Connor, who's just had an exchange with Danny Dyson, and they said, boom, in discussion of the time travel project they are building, weirdly, in the same clean room and lab.
How you did Danny Dyson with that boom, I don't know.
Exactly. Or how I got a part in Ultra Rebellion 2, but we'll get to that. It still bothers me, Ellie, that they're building a time machine and the T-1000 in the same room. As we said in the last episode, at NASA you have clean rooms that work on very specific compartmentalized parts of a project, and then it gets put together in yet another clean room when everyone's completely bacteria free in those hazmat suits. Anyway, Jason Clarke's John Connor is surveying this through the window, surveying his oncoming work. And it ends basically with Jai Courtney, who's just said, did he make a joke in reference to him, I have pants, when he says, what supplies do you have? And they just open this kind of secure, almost submarine-like door in the floor, which leads them down to their weapons cache. So that's the end of the scene, the 2 minutes bridging that gap. Ellie, I think we both have questions. We both have. I might have answers. Who knows? Let's get on with the show.
We both definitely have points, Ethan. So my first point is when we do see Jason Clarke looking out across his kind of creation, but that's only about 0.2 of a second, and then we skip straight to Danny Dyson giving his lovely Genisys speech, and as we pan across the crowd of people, we see these bushes, and they look particularly phallic, in my opinion. So I was wondering if you possibly picked up on the penis bushes at all, Ethan.
I didn't. Although I will say, do we know if this building's actually real?
That was my
Skynet?
next point. Is this real?
Because
is this CGI? It looks quite CGI to me.
It does, and there's kind of an aerial shot which pops up throughout the film from time to time. We've just had one as well, but
Pops. Keeping in
it
with the
does
film.
feel kind of very artificial.
It does, but I don't know whether that's just because it's all glass and very blue, and it's like the blue skies with the white fluffy clouds, and it's a bit Toy Story.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, let's discuss the biggest plot hole in this for me, which you kind of touched on in the last episode. Has Jason Clarke arrived ahead of time, secreted himself within this company as a kind of scientist, where he lives this double life as a Terminator and a scientist, actually like bringing Skynet to birth? Essentially, is that what's happened?
I think that's the idea. He's kind of infiltrated himself a few years earlier. Although, how the hell he would have known what year to have gone back to know what year his mum and dad would have actually. Because they changed their plan, didn't they? They were going to go back to one time, and
the timeline also is skewed. They're in the alternate timeline.
So how?
I mean, a more interesting story, I think, maybe would have been is he went into the other timeline, which is kind of the same but not. Like the Linda Hamilton one.
Same but different.
Same but different. Yeah, I don't know. It's something I kind of have trouble with. It's just like, why didn't they make more of a thing that he actually arrived earlier and start setting up all this stuff that is Skynet, essentially?
How does he know?
Exactly.
Huh? How does he know?
So it's not Dyson that's kind of like just come up with this revolutionary chip, as we saw in Terminator 2, and Joe Morton played Miles Dyson. He's actually now shepherding the time machine projects, the building of the T-1000s, all this other stuff, working closely, obviously, with the Dyson family. It's like, I just don't know why they didn't kind of make a thing about it. Is it just like a missing scene, or did they just forget and like it's one of those like
I think if
plot holes?
I think it's just one of those things where they just ran out of time, maybe. If they had to give so much backstory. I mean, this whole timeline is just so skewed anyway, and there's so many things that aren't explained. So, or maybe it was just laziness. Maybe they had their specific plots that they wanted to get into the film, and everything else was just like, well, just fuck it. Detailed?
Yeah,
no, we don't want to know
know.
that. That's why James Cameron should have been so
know.
disgusted with this film. We also hear Danny Dyson deliver the apt line of the ultimate killer app. Oh, if only they knew. Which led to my next question. As he introduces the face of, or the faceless boy of Genisys, why is Genisys depicted as a small boy?
I think because it's like a sci-fi or horror movie trope. I mean, we've had it more brazenly and blatantly in Resident Evil 1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where you had the little girl going, "You're all going to die down here," and that's like the representative of the computers. They're ripping off Resident Evil. Why do anyone want to do that? I have no idea. I'm actually trying to think where they got that from. Again, though, I mean, because you've got like a history of kind of evil computers, like HAL, of course, everyone remembers from 2001. The only thing I can think of is they've gone for a boy. One, because it's not like a direct rip-off of Resident Evil, and also you've got kind of like a tradition of evil children in films like Village
Damien
of the Damned
and stuff.
Or like exactly like Damien. That's what I was going to come to. So I think they're trying to like Mark Omen 2.
Literally sends chills through my spine. Even
Every time you say Omen 2, you have to go. Sorry, every time you say Mark now for the rest of your life, you have to go Omen 2, 1978. Like I do for Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, Pearl Harbor, how much? Yeah, exactly. Mark.
Yeah, so I thought it was a bit weird, and also the fact that he's faceless.
Yes. Well, I think that's because they're keeping it ambiguous, because they might introduce a physical actor maybe in the next film where it becomes like we've seen with Matt Smith.
So it's a machine that's becoming more human.
I just think they've kept it kind of vague because in films they've done that before when they've kind of had a character that they've kept vague because they haven't cast the role yet, but they're
sowing the
purporting
seed.
an idea, sowing the seed, and I'm trying to think. You know what? In Omen 2, they go to Ygael's wall at the start, and it's a mural of all the stages of the life of the Antichrist, and they see the kid from the first one, Harvey Stevens. And then they see the kind of goth lesbian-looking Damien that we see in Omen 2. And as he's about to pan to the face of the Antichrist as an adult, which obviously becomes Sam Neill in 1981's Omen 3, The Final Conflict, I think something happens and their attention is diverted before the cave collapses and they drown in sand.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they've done here. They might cast a child as this physical embodiment of evil in the next film. So it'd be freaky to have Skynet as this evil kid.
Yeah.
That's why. It's also Matt Smith, who's also a man. You know what? I take it back. That's what it is. Because the program's in its infancy, it's in the form of a child, and as we get further into the film, it appears as Matt Smith.
Oh, of course.
Even though those two. But then again, those two things do coexist, so that kind of puts the kibosh on that theory.
So I guess because it's still 2 days away, this is why the little boy's faceless, so he hasn't assumed an identity yet.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Question: would John be able to just walk around Skynet, and there seems to be no security at all, and he's just roaming the hallways?
But the intonation I take from the scene we've seen leading up to this point with Miles Dyson and his son Danny, he's like one of their lead programmers or kind of ideas men.
But still,
yeah, he's like their Walt Disney or whatever.
With that kind of technology, there would always be cameras. There would be security for something that high level. There would be something. He's just sticking his hands in the Skynet's gizzards willy nilly.
Yeah, no, it's. And
then the way he says,
Don't
worry, I won't let them hurt you," is that suggesting that Skynet experiences fear or worry? Because that's quite a human thing. Because he's showing himself that he's protecting it. He's just like, "Don't worry, I won't let them hurt you." That's quite a human kind of interaction.
That's his human side, though, isn't he? Like we said, he's kind of he's human.
So are we saying he is human?
No, but I think there's enough human components to him that he has all those extra layers that a regular Terminator wouldn't.
So
because
does he?
Then he's got
does he feel pain?
To quote Anthony Hopkins in Westworld, the original robots of Westworld just had love, anger, hate, all the kind of primary colours, and he was interested in all the shades between, all these more subtle emotions. I think John Connor, Jason Clarke's John Connor, the Terminator version, has all those qualities because he's more than human. He's human plus, isn't he?
Yeah.
So in answer to your question, I don't know.
So
two writers of this film.
But that's not just being. I guess that is essentially what makes you human, is having feeling and emotion. So there must be aspects of him that are still human then.
Yeah. I was going to say the two writers of this, Patrick Lucia and Leata, Kalogridis, must be Greek. I don't know.
Greek.
Yeah. He's start again. Leata is one of the writers on Shutter Island, which he also produced. He's the producer of Avatar. He wrote Alexander, the Colin Farrell version. He's done episodes of The Bionic Woman. This is his producer, of course. He screenplays Alexander, Pathfinder, which is the Viking movie. I think that's Marcus Nispel, actually, who did the Texas Chainsaw remake. Shutter Island, Bionic Woman, Altered Carbon, Sword Online, and Attila, Battle Angel. So he did the screenplay for that. So he's worked with Cameron a number of times, which is... Well, you know what? That was going to be James Cameron's next film, but they kind of got rid of it. Robert Rodriguez is doing it now. I think Cameron's abandoned it to do his four Avatar sequels. So,
what the hell? 4?
Which also has been pushed back until I think 2019 now, so it will be 10 full years since the last Avatar.
What? So that's when Avatar 2 is coming out?
Avatar 2, which will be the sequel to Avatar, comes out now in 2019, 10 years after the first one.
Do you reckon that's?
It's
do you
going to
reckon that
deal
means it's going
well.
to be really, really amazing, or they're just being lazy and they're going to be doing other things in between?
No, James Cameron said it's going to be deal with more within the oceans of Pandora, so you're going to explore more of the planet, and that's why he did all that, like James Cameron, that like deep sea Marianas Trench stuff. He's obviously very fascinated with the ocean.
Well,
It's the closest thing I guess you can get. The closest thing you can get to space travel at the moment. So yeah, doing the Abyss and Ghost of the Abyss. He's a Titanic documentary, obviously, and then is it Deep Sea Facials with whatever it's called, the James Cameron one. James Cameron takes on all comers. That's what it is, and it's just him in a giant what is it, metal penis that goes all the way to the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
I love you, South Park.
All the work he's done on those documentaries have led up, he says, to Avatar 2, basically. He said there's a lot more story to tell, and I guess he just wants his big kind of like sci-fi franchise. He feels there's more stories to tell on this, I guess, this saga, if you will. But
well, I trust Jane. I do.
Well, everyone on the forum is kind of like shits on it, going, "Oh, it's going to be terrible. How's he going to make 4 sequels?" But like every time James Cameron has done a sequel, it's been better than the original.
Good, yeah.
Sorry, Alien fans. Sorry, Terminator fans. I mean, you could argue which is the better film, but I prefer Terminator 2, I think.
Yeah, same.
But they're both. It's like Alien as well. They're both great, but I prefer Aliens. So he did Rambo 2, which is a great movie as well. Well, wrote it, didn't direct it. So whenever he turns his hand to a sequel or expands on his original idea, he always comes up trumps. So I don't know why everyone's kind of going, "Oh, it's going to suck." So there's going to be Avatar 2. And then Avatar 3, and then Avatar 4, I think, is a prequel, and then I think he's added another film to the roster, making it, I believe, 5 films, I think, or maybe 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 movies.
5 films?
5 films? Don't put a question mark on the teleprompter. Patrick Lussier is the other writer. He did the screenplay for this, but he's also an editor, which I find strangely confusing. He edited Apollo 18, which was that kind of like scary found footage astronaut movie, which I'm yet to see, about people in the Apollo 18 moon landing that were killed by some mysterious thing or force. Red Eye, the Cillian movie, Wes Craven airplane thriller, Scream 3, Scream 2, Mimic. So he worked a lot, and Scream 1. He's worked a lot with. Well, he seems to work a lot with James Cameron by the look of this. Dracula 2000.
What?
Which I think, yeah, Gerard Butler plays Dracula. Always beware, listeners, whenever they put the year of a film in the title of the film, the year it comes out, like Dracula AD 1972, it obviously dates the film a little bit, and they tend to stink. Dracula 2000 was made in 2000, and it's about Dracula. I think they were trying to like nod to that Christopher Lee Hammer film back in the day. But yeah, it stinks basically. But yeah, Mimic, Doctor Who, the Paul McGann TV movie version. So he's done a lot of like horror work with Dimension, which is Disney's kind of like off-brand kind of like horror genre filmmaking. But Drive Angry as well. But he edited that. So yeah, very strange. But there's nothing here I can see on IMDb that tells us anything about his work on Terminator Genisys.
Oh dear.
That was a rabbit hole went down, but we learned lots about James.
Ellie, we hear Arnie tell a joke, so does that mean that he's become more human?
Well,
or was this a joke?
I guess within reason. Well, I don't know, because this is meant to be the more upgraded T850 version of a Terminator, I think, which they've sent back. So I would have thought he would be more advanced, because as we've said before in a previous episode, when Arnold is in Terminator 2, he kind of like becomes more human quite quickly by the end of that movie.
Yeah, but you said the feeling you got of Arnie in this film is that he's not like paternal.
No, I know. I'm not sure if that's a fault of him misreading his own character and perhaps performing it slightly wrong.
Are you cussing Arnold's performance?
Not his performance as such, but I just think he didn't perhaps look. He's taken each film as they've gone and not treated it as an actor.
He didn't read the stage directions.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I famously do that. But if you've already got like a bulk of work leading up to this point, where you've kind of gone, well, in Terminator 2, I had this kind of like, I understood, even though I couldn't display emotions at that point, I still understood why you cry. It's something I could never do.
Talking about stage directions and things like that.
Which negates what Kyle Reese said, by the way.
Ethan, you were doing your own bit of stage direction last night, weren't you? What was that for?
Oh, Arthur and Merlin 2. I didn't star. I was cut from Arthur and Merlin.
Because you were too much of a star.
I was too much of a well. Who knows? Who knows what's bullshit and what's not? Basically,
Bullshit,
Arthur and Merlin: The Legend Begins came out 2 years ago. I was in it, and I've just sent in my audition tape for Arthur and Merlin 2. The Legend of Fritton's Gold. Actually, that's the Citrinian sequel. I apologise. It's called The Fire of Baelor. Fire of Baelor. So yeah, and weirdly, Ellie, when we did that tape last night, it's a 3-minute scene.
Is it?
I didn't think because we did 2 versions, and the first one I've done is 6 minutes long.
Oh my god! Yeah, but isn't that also with you saying hi? My name's
I mean,
Ethan McKinley.
give or take that bit, which I guess amounts to 20 or 30 seconds. It's 5.5 minutes of stuff. So I don't know. There we go. So yeah, I did a 5-minute audition tape for Arthur and Merlin 2, playing, I guess, their swashbuckling Han Solo-y type character.
The part was literally written for Ethan. It's so Ethan. It's ridiculous. I think he literally wrote.
I've got a feeling he'll have all the best scenes. If he's like that cheeky, roguish charm person, he might be one of that.
He's not
it's
the
that
lead,
character,
but he
isn't it,
kind
that
of steals the
movie.
show. Yeah.
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 Let's hope. Is he actually acting Ethan? I doubt it. Anyway.
Well, no, you did very well in the.
As I was going to say before we talking about this, I was saying that the Terminator said he understood what crying was, but it's something he could never do. But then in the first film, Kyle said the Terminator replicates everything: sweat, bad breath, everything. So you'd assume the eyes would have to have some kind of tear ducts to keep the organic eye that sits in front of the binocular vision camera eyes of the Terminator, wouldn't you? So I don't know.
Shit, son.
I think it'd be interesting putting a Terminator in an acting class. Okay.
Now act hot.
Okay, Pops, your dog's just died. You walk in and you found this out. Go, act.
Now scene. Oh my god. Yeah, that would be good. But anyway,
As a side note,
Yes,
what are you saying?
No,
Just carry on.
No, your side note. Go for it.
I was just going to do my trivia. I apologise. After you. Sorry, listeners. We're having trouble with our internet signals, so we have a delay on slightly what we're saying. I think you can hear a slight echo of my voice about a second after I say it. If that's the case, I apologise. It's the program we're using, and it rhymes with Blendcaster. We're not going to actually say what it is, but it rhymes with Blendcaster.
It's upsetting us quite a bit. Just that my last point was that as Danny Dyson is talking about Genisys, and he's saying about how it's going to link all of your technologies together and have them all in one place. Why is that actually a good idea? How is Genisys actually going to benefit people? I don't understand why that's a good thing. That would drive me
because
nuts
it's
if everything was connected.
It's not. Everything is connected now, though, isn't it? It's a kind of social commentary on not keeping technology in check, while it also at the same time makes our lives infinitely convenient. Your phone contains all these connected things. It's got your emails, it's got Viber, it's got WhatsApp, it's got FaceTime, it's got Facebook, it's got Twitter, it's got podcasts, it's got texting, it's got everything all connected. In China, because they have a very limited internet, because it's, I guess, communist, that the government controls everything, they have one app that literally deals with everything, and they're trying to kind of bring that in over here. I think that's what they're trying to convey in this film. That everything goes through one central hub, so you can book cinema tickets, you can make a call, you can activate the torch on your phone if you've lost your keys, you're in the dark. It's all off one gigantic app. The only problem with that
is it then what happens if you lose that device, or that device gets broken, or if someone gets hold of it?
Well, no, because the device is the device. The device is just the carrier of the program or the app. Device. No, I'm fighting over the windy hiss of your poor internet. The device. Well, it begs the question. It's just basically all of that is basically Sorry, twice in one sentence. Slap myself like the old days. That can be monitored much more easily than having multiple different apps. So they're like slowly condensing things down. You've got the Google phone, which has come out now, which is the marriage of the actual technology, as you just said, with the actual apps.
But you know what? I've already had someone who has got a Google phone say to me,
We ourselves have just been forced to download Google Chrome plus whatever it is to get this program working on our phone.
yeah,
Otherwise it
damn you,
wouldn't have worked.
Zencaster.
Damn you, Google, because everything's getting pared more and more down. You've got, this growing... Well, let's just come out and say it. Genisys in this iteration of the Terminator franchise is Google, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah.
And they've even got the tablet that goes with it, a la the Pixel, which is the Google phone, which has come out, which apparently is better than all the other phones on the market because it works in perfect harmony, if you will, with the programming, which is Google itself, with the actual device, which is made for that stuff.
I don't know. It all seems a bit much to me. It kind of scares me.
Well, this will also scare you. It's said, Ellie, by John Connor, that time tends to want certain things to happen in this film. It's reflected numerous times in Terminator Genisys. John Connor in Terminator 2 alludes to it, although it's most heavily laid on thick in this movie, Terminator Genisys, but it really kicks into gear in Terminator 3. That there is no fate but what you can make. You can divert Judgment Day, but ultimately you cannot stop it because it wants to happen. Time wants this, not just Skynet. So in Terminator 2, John Connor and young Kyle Reese are both seen revving their bikes in a similar position. Yes. Miles Dyson being involved in Cyberdyne, blowing up Cyberdyne, the antagonist being exposed as a lethal tanker. Come with me if you want to live. If any of this makes sense to you, I hope you're paying attention because I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. Again, I've taken this trivia off IMDb. Right, let's read it again. It is said by John Connor that time tends to want certain things to happen. This is reflected numerous times. John Connor in Terminator 2 and young Kyle Reese are both seen revving their bikes in a similar position. Now, when have we got a young Kyle Reese, Ellie, just to break this down? We've got plot holes in the actual trivia again.
Oh my god, this is getting ridiculous.
When does Kyle Reese have a motorbike?
No, he had a motorbike in, didn't he have one in the third
Salvation?
film? No, the third one.
But it says here, John Connor in Terminator 2 and young Kyle Reese
Oh, no,
are
that's
both
Kyle
seen
Reese.
revving their bikes in a similar position. Are we thinking of Anton Yelchin's Kyle Reese in Terminator Salvation?
Maybe, were they all...
Anyway, moving on. The next one, Miles Dyson being involved in Cyberdyne, blowing up Cyberdyne. The antagonist being exposed to a lethal tanker. A lethal tanker, I'm assuming, is the first film when he gets run over by a petrol tanker in the first one and breaks his leg, and then he comes out the fire and he's all limping. And then in the second one, it's the Terminator T-1000 when he gets frozen by the broken open tanker. Let's go for the third point.
It sounds like you're saying thank you in German.
Let's see if this makes sense. Danke. A T-1000 being involved. The T-800's arm being left behind. I think they're trying to make out that these poetic kind of callbacks to all the other parts of the film. So the T-1000, when he gets burnt with the acid in this movie, and there's an arm left behind which gets thrown back or pushed as he gets pushed back in the acid, and his arm's left until Arnie kind of puts all of him in the acid. The T-800's arm being left behind at the start of the first and the second films, even though they never mentioned the one that's left behind in the second film. And note the word "I'll be back" could be considered a design quirk of the T-800 series because it's said in every movie and it's not actually an in-joke for the fans. And future John's message to Sarah at the beginning of Genisys are from the original timeline. None of that makes sense. It will be appearing in text beneath this episode, viewers, so if you want to actually read it for yourself, hopefully you can glean more info out of this than I can.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense.
Also,
to me
Ellie,
either.
virtually every Terminator film has been released by a different studio. The original Terminator film from 1984 was distributed by Orion Pictures, which went bust. Terminator 2 Judgment Day was also co-released by TriStar Pictures and Carol Co Films, which also went bust.
Bloody hell.
Carol Co, not TriStar. They made Labyrinth, by the way.
La la.
By the way, does anyone want to vote on this? I think we should do Labyrinth Minute, me and Ellie.
No, because it will ruin that film for me.
Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, Ellie, and Terminator Salvation 2009 and 2003 respectively were both released by Warner Brothers. They haven't gone bust. And Terminator Genisys is released by Paramount Pictures. They won't go bust, but the film was considered a massive flop. And there we have
Bust
it.
and
Do you have
flop.
anything else to add, Ellie?
They are all the points that I wanted to bring up in this particular episode. And I just wanted to congratulate you on your tape, your self-tape, which is very professional. It looked like an actual film. So fingers crossed.
Was it any good, though?
It was.
Because you can't really be objective about your work. I like, full disclosure, everyone, I had to
You
edit
got
like
better. You definitely
6
did get
versions. Well, no, you said the second or the third one was good, and then there was a lull, and then I picked up
better.
around take 11.
It was the 4th and the 11th one that were the best. I think we did about 14 in total.
Whoops, I think I did 3 and 12. What the fuck do I know?
You're fired.
It was so hard to pick because I saw some, and the back end was good on some, and the front on the others, and I was trying to find one that was consistently the best. So I think I went with it. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right.
So it was just hard to kind of like be objective because I'd seen it so many times. They all merged into one in the end.
Watch out for machines. They're unstoppable. Watch out for machines. They will go